Yo, what's good? Amolytics. It's a new day. Friday, May 23rd. Happy Friday, everybody. I'll start out by giving a recap of yesterday and how that went. Luis Reyes, San Diego at Toronto. He came through for us, went 2 for 5 with the double there. Nolan Chanel, LA at Athletics. He went 1 for 3. He got hit by a pitch and a walk there. He came through early, though, first inning. Jose Ramirez, Cleveland at Detroit, came through for us as well. Went 2 for 5 there against Flattery. And then Baldwin against Williams, Atlanta at Washington. He went 0 for 5 there. He didn't have any strikeouts, though. So he was putting every single ball in play, just wasn't dropping for a hit, and like you have that sometimes. So, didn't get that. And then Turner, I said this yesterday. I tried to force my hand with this. Shouldn't have. But it is what it is. He went 0 for 3 there with the walk. So we went 3 for 5 for the night, which is, is what it is. Still a winning night, to be honest. So next up, we'll get into who I like today. Starting out, I like Jose Ramirez. We're going to go back to him there. He's going up against Jackson Jobe of Detroit today. Jobe's a rookie. Hasn't necessarily found his footing yet. I usually attack him with righties, but as I was looking through it today, his numbers against lefties aren't overwhelming either. He's not just getting lefties out at a high rate. So he has a 127 WHIP versus lefties with a 5.4 percentage K to walk rate, which isn't good at all. And his FIP is a 758. And if you're not familiar with FIP, it's essentially the factors that a pitcher can control. So that'd be his strikeout rate, his walk rate, and then his home run rate at which he's given up. So his FIP is a 758, which is insane right now. And then his xFIP is a 542. So xFIP, the only difference between xFIP and FIP is that they put the league average home run rate per fly ball for the pitchers instead of using their actual home run rate. So that tells me when his FIP is almost over 2 points higher than his xFIP, that means his home run rate to lefties is extremely high. So Jose is honestly in play for a home run here as well. He has a 306 ISO, which if you're not familiar, that's slug minus average. So how much isolated power are you hitting for? And then his weighted OBA is at a 454, and his K rate is at a 7.9 percentage. He's also on a 15-game hitting streak right now. So I like Jose in this spot to get after this kid. I don't necessarily trust Cleveland's lineup as a whole, but I still like Jose here. For context for Jobe, he did have a quality start against Toronto. So for a start to be considered a quality start, a pitcher has to go 6 innings pitch and give up 3 or less earned runs. He's had 2 of those this year. And the last one was against Toronto, his previous game, and then he had one against Minnesota towards the beginning of April. So other than that, he's been getting hit up. So I believe Cleveland can get to him here. I believe Jose can get to him. I'm not going to say Cleveland. Cleveland's offense is not that great. But I believe he can get to him here. And quite possibly a home run, as I said, or 2+ bases. Next up, I have Masyn Winn. He's going up against Zach Gallen of Arizona. So St. Louis at Arizona at St. Louis. Home matchup here for him. Let me find that. Okay. All right, here we go. Got it. So Gallen, right now, he has a 154 whip against right-handed hitters. He's given up. His K to walk rate is pretty good. I'm not going to lie, at 22%. That's pretty good. But I'm not necessarily worried about Winn King here. With him, he's at an 8% K rate against right-handed pitchers, which is really good. He also has a 437 weighted OBA. So I like winning this spot. His splits for righty versus lefty is like drastically different. Hits righties way better than lefties, like extremely better. It's like it's honestly insane, to be honest, how much of a difference it is. So he gets a righty here. I like this spot. They also have St. Louis as the underdog on the money line as far as a team. Um, I'm not gonna say I trust McCullers here, their pitcher, to dominate Arizona by any means. Um, However, I don't know if having them as underdogs when they're right now. St. Louis is top 4 or 5 against right-handed pitchers in the last 2 or so weeks. So yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily right there, but I feel like it's gonna be a high-scoring game. That's my true and honest opinion. I feel like this game should be high-scoring. Looking at Gallen's past couple games, um, he's been getting hit up. Colorado got to him last week at home, which is honestly insane. You're letting Colorado get to you. He had 10 base runners given up there with 6 earned runs and 4 home runs. And then LA got to him. 12. He gave up 12 base runners with 4 earned runs there. He did have 2 decent games against, which were considered quality starts against New York Mets back to back there at the beginning of May. But other than those 2 games, he's been getting hit up for like the past month or so. His last quality start, other than those New York Mets games, is April 13th against Milwaukee, and that was at home. Other than that, he's either given up more than 3 earned or been out before 6 innings each game. So I like this to be a high-scoring game. I like to be a back-and-forth game, and given that Winn hits righties way better than he hits lefties, I like this for him here. Next up, I have Goldie. We're going New York at Colorado. If you're unfamiliar, it's Paul Goldschmidt for New York. Let me find this game. I will say it's a weird travel spot for New York, though. They just played yesterday afternoon in New York and then have to go to Colorado, which, yeah, honestly, yeah, is weird. Got to deal with the elevation there, too. So, but I still like this spot. They're going up against a kid that is Tanner Gordon. Just hasn't been good. He debuted last year for the first time and just hasn't been good at all. Good at all. He only has 1 start this year. I will say that. He just got, who did he get? Let me find him real quick. He just got shelled last week against somebody in his first start. It was Detroit. He did go 6 innings, though. He gave up 10 base runners and 4 earned runs in that game on 4 Ks. When I look back at his last, because obviously it's not really a good sample size, I looked back last year in 2024, and he had 1 quality start out of 8. So, granted, he's in Colorado, though. I've mentioned that. It's a ballpark for hitters, to be honest. So, it's hard to judge off of that. But with New York's, as I mentioned before, that St. Louis was top 5 against right-handed pitching. New York's first. So, they should be able to get to him. I will say, again, I'll say it is a weird travel spot here that they have to, go from New York without any rest at all. However, I'll take Goldie here. His K rate is 13%. He has a weighted OVA of 376. And Gordon-wise, he has a whip of 257, and then to righties, and then a K to walk rate of 16%. Now, as I said, it's a small sample size here. He won against Detroit, who Detroit really doesn't have that many righties. Like, thinking off the top of my head, I only can think of Torkelson, Baez, and that's about it that would be in the lineup against a righty, to be honest. Detroit's heavy lefty. So, and those two aren't really somebody that you should be giving up, a 500 average to either. So, I like this spot for Goldie. Also like Judge too. Judge is he's going insane this year, but his K percentage is too high for me right now for me to take that. He's at like a 27% K rate versus righties right now. Other than that, everything looks great for him. So if you want to play Judge for a home run, I'll say that too. You could play him here against this Gordon kid. But moving on. Next up, honestly, my favorite play of the day. We got Ward here. Taylor Ward of the Angels. Going against Alcantara of Miami. LA returns home. Miami's traveling out there. They've been hot, and they were losing yesterday. And came back and won that game. So let me see how many games in a row is that for the Angels. The Angels being on the hot streak is like insane to me. I feel like I've never heard of that in my lifetime. The Angels winning games. They're one game away from being 500. So that's 7 games in a row for them. They swept the Dodgers, then swept the Athletics in 4 games as well. Yeah. But on another note, I got to looking at Ward's game log, and he's on an 8-game hitting streak. But in those 8 games, he's had an extra base hit in every single game. And let me see if I can find his exact home runs in that time span. Actually, I can. Hold up one sec. He has 5 home runs in this 8-game hitting streak. 5 home runs, and then every other game he's at least a double or a triple. So I love this spot against Alcantara. Alcantara's been struggling since he came back from his Tommy John surgery this year. He's been quite bad to both sides of the plate, However, against righties, he has a 169 whip. He has a 16% K to walk rate. And then he has a FIP of 4.3 and an estimated FIP of 362. Ward has a K percentage of 18 and then a weighted OBA of 469. Love this spot. I really do. I love this spot for Ward at home against Alcantara. For context and how bad Alcantara has been, he's given up at least 7 base runners in his last 5 games. So about a month and a half here. His last quality start was, on that last 4 games. His last quality start was against Cincinnati, whose offense is absolutely horrible. And that was at home in Miami, in which he still gave up 7 base runners. He just went 6. That was his only quality start of the year. So he's been quite bad this year. With Ward on a hot streak right now, I love it. I love the spot for him to continue to go. Next up, we got Bryce Harper. He's going up against Jeffrey Springs of the Athletics. Let me switch this over. So, I mentioned this the other day. Harper's been going crazy. Philly in general, they're number 1 against lefties in the league. Harper himself has just honestly been going crazy against lefties, which is like a normal for a lefty to be hitting lefties and seeing lefties how good he is. But he's doing that right now. I like the spot here. Springs is a little bit worse with lefties than he is righties. Harper's hitting at a 557 weighted OBA in 25 plate appearances versus lefties in these past 2 weeks. And then he's striking out at 4% rate. And he's on a 7-game hitting streak as well. Don't fail to mention that. And then you got Springs here. He's giving up a 1.5 whip to lefties, as well as a 5% K to walk rate. So I love this spot for Harper. Looking over here. Lefties are hitting like 0.129 better than righties against Springs. So in this minor league ballpark here, I like Harper to find a gap against him. So those are my 5. I'll go in order. I like Ward. I like Harper. I like Goldie. I like Ramirez. And then I like Winn. So in that order, that's the way I like them. Do what you may with those. I also, in addition today, just give out some home run plays. I know some people like home runs. Why? So I'll give out some plays today that you can parlay or play straight if you want to as well. So first up, home run wise, I like Rowdy Tellez. He's going up against Gusto. What's this dude? Gusto from Ryan Gusto. That's Seattle at Houston. Let me find these real quick. Okay. So currently right now, Tellez has a 313 ISO versus righties. Context about ISO as well. A good rule of thumb. 200 ISO is pretty good, but if you're a 250 or above, you're hitting for power for sure. So with Tellez at 313, he's hitting righties right now, and Gusto is at a 608 FIP with a 319 estimated FIP. And as I mentioned before, the only difference between estimated FIP and FIP is the league average home run rate is in the estimated FIP. So that's how many home runs he's given up. He's almost 3 points higher than what his estimated FIP is. So I love the spot for Tellez here. He should get one here against Gusto. Next up, I don't know how to pronounce this dude's name. Moncada. Moncada, he's going up against the Alcantara. So I'm going right back at Alcantara, Miami versus LA. I know Alcantara struggles with righties, but he gives up power to lefties. He gives up a extreme amount of power to lefties. Moncada right now is hitting at a 278 ISO versus righties. And then Alcantara's FIP is at a 688 right now. So extremely high versus an estimated FIP of 551. He's about 137 higher than what the league average is. So I take it in the context like this. This is how I think about it. So if you take this pitcher's K percentage and walk percentage and you put it on an average pitcher, their FIP is showing how much worse than they are with someone who's throwing Ks and walks at the same rate as them, home run wise, because we're measuring home runs here. That's what we want. That's what we want to attack. So you're about 137 basis points worse than an average pitcher in the league going out there to pitch, giving up home runs wise. So that's how I look at it, and that's how I use it. So that's another one I like, Moncada, Miami at LA. And then I'll give another one. I'll go Cleveland at Detroit. I mentioned it earlier. Jose. Might as well go there. I like Jose here. He's in at 306 ISO right now. Reminder what I said, 250 or higher, like you're hitting for power. And Joe is currently has a 758 FIP, and that's 2.16 basis points worse than his estimated FIP. His home run per 9, and I failed to mention it for the other pitchers. His home run rate per 9 is 3.1. And then you have Alcantara, I'll mention his, is 2 per 9. And then Gusto is 2.6. So I like these spots. I'll start out with 3. If you want to see more, just let me know, and we can do that. But those are my 3, Tellez, Moncada, and Ramirez. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to be notified when I post, please subscribe and turn on your notifications, as well as like, comment, all those things. Thank you.